Great. So in sound, there are things called frequencies. Okay? And that is how people determined how we should hear. Okay, the scientists came up with this word called frequencies. Really, what it means is the number of times you can hear something, and here we measure it in seconds. So, for example, you see these numbers down here. The lowest a human being can hear is 20 cycles per second. That's the lowest. That's how God designed us. And the highest we can hear is 20,000 cycles per second. And they are named, the guy who found this out was called hertz. So they're called, so you'll find 20 hertz and then 20 kilohertz. Yeah. So that's what they mean by hertz. Like hertz is the guy who invented this whole thing. So the lowest you can hear is 20 hertz. So that's the very, very low end. And then the highest we can hear is 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz. So there are two main things that help us manipulate these frequencies, and they are called equalizers. So we have the graphic equalizer, which looks like this, and we have the parametric equalizer, which looks like this. Now on analog mixers, it's a parametric EQ but with knobs. You'll see highs, mids, lows. But in the digital world, they have helped us kind of arrange them in this format. So if I reset this, so when we are talking about lows, we're talking about between 20 to 100 hertz. That's this area right here. That's the low end. And when we're talking about low mids, we're talking from 100 all the way to 500 hertz. Those are low mids. And when we mean high mids, those are from 500 all the way up to 3000. And then high frequencies go all the way from 3000 to 20,000 hertz. Does that make sense? Are there any questions so far about frequencies? So that's how they have been determined.
I'm good.
Yeah. And the difference between a parametric and a graphic EQ is, on a parametric, if I, for example, increase 1000 hertz, it's going to also increase the ones on the left and the ones on the right. Okay? That's how it works. It's going to increase some of the frequencies on the left and some on the right, as displayed here. That's what's happening. Let me use this vocal to explain so that you can hear it clearly. I'm going to solo it and then press play.
Give God the good love is as high as
So I'm increasing 800 hertz, but it's also increasing 500, 400, 300. It's also increasing 1000, 2000. So that's how the parametric EQ is working on this one. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Great. When I reduce, it's also doing the same thing. It's reducing some on the left and some on the right. Compared to a graphic EQ only does one frequency at a time. If I only increase 800, it's only going to increase 800, and that's it. Let me press play.
just
So it's not as dramatic as the parametric EQ. It's way more specific in the frequency that it selects. Let me try another frequency, say around 200. So I don't know if you can hear it, but it's only increasing that specific frequency, as opposed to a parametric EQ. If I increase 200, it would also increase 160, 250, like that. That's how parametric EQ works. It increases the ones on the left, on the right, as opposed to a graphic EQ that only selects the actual frequency, and then you can increase or reduce it. We like using it on specifically for feedback. When there's feedback, you select the specific frequency that's feedbacking, and then you remove it. Does that make sense now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Excellent. So really, basically, that's what we learned last week on frequencies and how to manipulate them using the equalizers. Okay, great. So yeah, I can redo this vocal. I have no problem doing it. I'm going to use the parametric EQ to make it sound nicer. So the first thing I'm going to do is start by cutting all the low frequencies. The microphone is picking up a lot of the drums, the bass. You don't need all that information in a vocal microphone. Yeah.
Baba, shout for joy. Come before him singing. Shout for joy.
And just like that, it already sounds better, because I've reduced all that low end information. You don't need all of that happening coming through the vocal mic. I'm going to do a before and after so that you can hear the difference. So this is before.
Come before him singing. And jagala, and jagala.
That's after. So I've already helped the vocal sound better by just removing all that low end information. You don't need all those low ends coming through the vocal microphone. And maybe the other frequency I'm hearing that I can work on is about 500 hertz to make it sound much better. So this is before.
Your faithfulness.
That's after.
Beyond the cloud. Kama wapo wetisa tuku wetitiwa ngachizala akujagala kama wapo wetisa.
All right. Was someone asking a question?
No, I was just saying that it clears the muddiness.
Yes. It removes all that muddiness. Great. Let's move on to, let's add a keyboard to this thing, because you want to feel some vibe. Great. This is the keyboard. Alright, so I'm going to give the keyboard its own EQ as well. So I'm going to do the same thing with the keyboard. Just cut off that low end, and because if this is the keyboard alone, before you add the bass guitar and the kick, that's a lot of low end information, and it's going to feel very, 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 very muddy and crowded. So you also want to cut low end from the keyboard. Now, of course, the EQing, this is because there are a lot more instruments. If the keyboard was alone, I would basically leave it flat. If the keyboard was alone, like if it was just the singer and the keyboard, then it would be nice to leave it flat. But because we have guitars, we have bass, we have drums, we have everything is trying to is playing at the same time, you want to try and separate them. So that's why I'm cutting the low end from the keyboard. All right. So I'm going to do the same all the way up to 280. Bring in the vocal.
Just beyond the clouds. Baba. Baba.
So if I bring in that low end again.
Shout for joy. Come before him singing. Shout for joy.
Now, of course, you'd think, of course, it's better when there's more low end on the keyboard, right? But again, perspective, we haven't yet added the kick, the bass. So this is just to remove all that information so that we have enough space for the low end, aka the kick and the bass guitar. So with that being said, let's actually add the kick and bass guitar. I'm going to start with the kick and reset this. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. JT, yes, JT.
So,
Yeah.
how do we, just take you back a bit to the mics, how do we get our mics cleaner from the point of setup? Like, how can we arrange the stage to reduce that?
Yeah.
Noise?
So there's several ways to do this. On live shows, you can use a drum cage, especially, so that the drums don't come through, are not picked by the mics that much. And then positioning, you can say put the bass and drums in one corner, and because I know the bass, for example, have combos, electric guitars have combos, so you want to put all those aside and leave, say, the vocals in the center, so that when you're playing and they're singing, the mics are not picking up that much information. That's one way to do it.
Okay. And then do we cut up to like the 300 hertz for front of house as well, or is this just for a post-production kind of setting?
No. This is definitely for live setting as well.
Okay.
It works in live setting as well, especially in live setting. Yeah. Yes, Robert.
Yeah, so thank you very much,
Yeah.
Bishop Edison, for teaching.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
my question is, you had shared the difference between the
Yes.
graphic and what's the other one
Parametric.
called? The parametric. I was about to call it Panametric, but parametric, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But my question is that which one is better? Because you said the other one, the parametric. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is
When it adjusts even the surrounding frequencies, whereas
Yes.
the graphic only adjusts a single frequency. Which one is better when you're adjusting?
No, you use both.
Does the other one do it?
You use both
as a way of balancing or something?
No, you use both at the same time. So yes, this one balances the mic, but just in case there's feedback, you have to bring this in. If there's no feedback, you can leave this out. But this is in every mixer. This is in analog mixers. This parametric EQ is in analog. It's in digital. You can't. It's the most preferred one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question, someone is asking that what is kick?
What is the kick? Oh, it's part of the bass drum. It's the big thing. It's the big drum. Yeah. So let's go to it actually, since we're there. So this is the kick. Let me remove the keyboard. That's the kick. Now, of course, this I've not explained how the types of microphones yet and all that, but if you have a good sounding kick with a good microphone placed in it, it should sound nice. It should sound nice. So this is a good sounding kick so far. So what I'm going to do is give it a bit more low end and remove any other frequency that might be affecting the mix. Okay. Let's start by right. I'm going to start by increasing that low end at about 80 Hertz. That will give it a bit more punch. I'm going to remove that papery feeling that I can hear. It's about 1500 Hertz. And just for the kick to stand out, I'm going to increase that top end around 6K and take it higher to 8. And I'm going to bring the keys back in and the vocal. Great, so the kick is sounding good. What I'm going to do is now add a bass guitar as well. I'm strictly using the parametric EQ on all of these. Well, to remove that muddish feeling from the bass guitar around 170 Hertz and increase that low end at 80 And because I like hearing the notes of the bass guitar, I'm going to increase about 3000 hertz. So this is before, this is after. This is before. This is after. Bring in the kick. So as long as both the kick and the drums are in the same groove, the idea is you want the kick and the drum and the bass guitar, the kick drum and the bass guitar to be balanced, to have a groove in between them. You don't want one outshining the other, so you don't want the bass guitar to be louder like that, but also you don't want the kick to outshine the bass guitar. So you want a very good balance of both, because the kick drum and the bass guitar are the groove of all music. Alright, so I'm going to add the keyboard. So for reference, what I'm going to do now is just switch off all the EQs for the things we have just done. So the kick, the keys, and the bass. I'm going to switch off all the EQs, all of them, including the vocal.
Is as high as
So that's without EQ. And now I'm switching on the EQ.
just beyond the clouds.
So there is clarity, as you can see, or as you can hear. Yes, Michael, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, Pastor Edison. Kati, the question may I have is, okay, like I can see you like in the drum, you switch the frequencies. Question is, like for the bass guitar, which frequency, how can I know the frequencies to remove, which ones to adjust, to beef it up and all that?
Yeah, so for example, on this bass guitar, I removed 170 hertz because it's a bit muddy on it. So if I go back to it and press play, so this frequency is going to, yeah, it sounds, it's a bit overwhelming. So that's any frequency that's overwhelming and will destroy the mix is what you want to reduce. Does that make sense? If it's overwhelming for the entire music, it's going to, if it's overwhelming before you add in the other instruments and vocals, it's going to be overwhelming for the whole entire mix. So you want to reduce it before you get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically what I'm hearing is I need to train my ear more, like.
Correct. Yes. You need to train your ear more to listen to these frequencies.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, Robert.
I'm just confirming something about this setup. So this setup you have here, so basically every instrument, every vocalist has a channel on
Yes,
the
correct.
mixer.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so you can adjust each
Separately.
instrument.
Yes.
You can adjust. Okay.
Yes, yes. James, I saw your hand raised.
Yes, I wanted to ask, what are you specifically looking for when you are EQing, for especially for different or for instruments really that are in the same range or spectrum of audio?
Yeah.
What are you looking to boost and cut? Because like the kick itself also has a high side of it and a low end side of it. How come for it you didn't remove the 170 or I don't know, boost what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so I look out again. It's really training the ear. The problematic frequencies for me are the ones that really stand out. Like before the mix is brought together. So in this scenario, for the kick, it's 1,500 hertz. In the one of the bass guitar, it's about 170 hertz. So yeah, you don't want to cram. That's what I'm trying to avoid you guys from doing. You don't want to cram which frequencies to cut. I want you to use your ears and learn how the different frequencies sound, so that in any scenario you can just quickly tell. Let me add a channel here so that we can try and go through that track. Okay, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is add an oscillator. Great. Okay, so this is going to teach you how the different frequencies sound. Okay. All right, let's see if I can press play on it. Since we why isn't it? It should be working. Yes, it's on. There we go. So do you guys hear that frequency?
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's 1,900 hertz. So each frequency sounds different. Okay, so I'm going to start from the low and sweep all the way to the highs. So let's see if we can increase. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's really low. Like you need a subwoofer to hear that. It's really low. Let's go up. All right, that's 40 hertz. That's 40 hertz. Let's keep going. That's 80. It's about 100. 170. 300. 400. 500. 600. Yeah, this is when it gets irritating. 800. 1,100. 1,500. Sounds like a whistle, someone whistling. 2000, 26, 3, yeah, 4K, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, and that's 20. So yeah, 20 is really high. If you're not using headphones, I don't think you can hear it, but yeah, it's really high. So that's really frequencies. That's how the different frequencies sound. So you want to remove the problematic ones before, as you EQ the different channels, so that when they come together it sounds amazing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. Any questions so far? We're okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, so how do you manipulate? Is there a way of manipulating frequency if you're using tracks?
Really, tracks already come
effectively manipulating frequencies.
Tracks already come with all the instruments and everything combined. So you just be increasing and decreasing.
So you just have to
tracks.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we have done the kick, the bass, the vocal, keys.
Beyond the clouds, yeah. Shout for joy.
Okay. So I'm going to add a snare. And with overheads. No, let me do snare only, because information overload is real. Great, let me add an EQ here. So same thing, got some of these up to 200 hertz. And on this one, I can hear, yeah, it's even ringing. It's like boom, boom, boom. So reduce that a bit. Bring back the kick. Bass.
Baba, yeah, oh, Mukamba.
So those are really the basics of EQing. And if you can find the problematic frequencies, reduce them. If you can cut all this low end from especially vocal mics, it will help have great separation as you're mixing. All right. Hello.
Hello.
Great. Yes, JT.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not jumping ahead,
Yeah.
but do you EQ the room? Is there such a thing as EQing the room? Because I've been to places where I find certain rooms respond or amplify certain frequencies in mics that didn't happen in other rooms.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there
is
is
there
such
a
a
thing
thing.
you do to prepare before you go into EQing the individual channels?
Yeah, we usually use something called pink noise. You play it in the room and you find problematic frequencies. This is how pink noise sounds. So that's how pink noise sounds. So if one frequency stands out from the other frequencies, what pink noise is every third octave at the same volume. That's what pink noise is. White noise is every frequency at the same volume, but pink noise is every third octave at the same volume. So you want to use pink noise, and if any frequency stands out in the room, those are the ones you reduce. That's how you EQ the room.
What are you using to tell what frequencies stand out? Is it just off ear?
Well, you have to know what pink noise sounds like. Again. Now for me, pink noise sounds like a waterfall. If I don't know if you've been to a waterfall or yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
If you know what a waterfall sounds like, that's how it should sound in the room. So if one frequency stands out from the other, then those are the ones you reduce on the EQ of the master bus. Yeah. So that's how you do it. Yeah.
So in situations where maybe I'm running front of house and monitors and subs, on different buses, and it's only maybe the tops of the front of house on the main bus, does this still count, or do I have to do it through the different buses?
No. Do it for the main. The mains must be the loudest speakers in your system, not the monitors, not the The mains are always the loudest loudest speakers in your system. So only do it on the mains.
Cool.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions? Maybe not related to EQ. What? Maybe you have connections. Yes, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Omen. Good afternoon.
Pardon?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. This guy is Isaac.
Yes, Isaac.
Unfortunately, I hear my face because I'm in some weird place.
Okay.
But from Tarona's question of how you treat the main think noise, that description of think noise is given out. I don't know, but I feel I relate it. Yeah.
Pardon?
The gain staging. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
I relate it to that game.
I relate it to the gain staging of the system.
Yeah.
I find that sometimes on the board,
Yeah.
the loudest when you, for example, when you've balanced the microphone sensitivity
Yeah.
and you're trying to gain it up,
Yeah. Yeah.
you easily reach the the manageable level.
Okay.
Let's say the maximum
Yeah.
green, and peeping a little bit in yellow on
Okay.
the meter
Yeah.
with just a small movement in the gain.
Yeah.
I think about 5 dB, 10 dBs,
Okay.
and the mic is already up and loud in the system.
Mm-hmm.
How do I approach leveling my system from the amplifiers to the mains so that I get a good response? I don't have to run my faders so
Yeah.
low
Yeah.
in a way that I am scared of pushing them high because they'll be too loud. How do I balance the levels? Like, how does that flow? I feel like
Right.
it
So that's
somehow also interacts with how the system sounds in the room.
yeah. So you want if you really want to go into that detail, you have to use something called an RTA mic with an SPL meter. So an RTA is what will give you measurements, and then the meter is what will tell you how loud it is. So ideally, you want your system to be 110 dB on every sitting, with plus minus 3 decibels for increase and decrease. So you want to calculate that using both the RTM mic and the SPL meter, so that you don't blow people's ears, and more importantly, you don't blow the system. So that's how you measure it. So you once you have those once if say your system is too low, then you go back to the amplifiers and increase it. If it's too hot, you go back to the amplifiers and decrease it. So that's what you want to do if you really want to calculate the perfect sound for your system in the environment you're in. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think I so what I've
Yeah.
understood from your response is that I always have to level from the amplifiers and
Yeah.
not
Not from
from
the board.
the mixer itself.
Yeah. The board
Yeah.
is the final phase. You want to the source is the most important. So if your speakers are kawa, then this other side will be very good for you. Yes, Jordan, I saw your hand raised.
I just wanted to ask on like the
Yeah.
EQ of the snare. Like,
Okay.
are there, are there moments where you would like change the EQ depending on like, let me say if it's like Lingala or something, then there's this
Ah.
worship of yours. Yeah.
No. So usually what those guys do is they have like 3 different snares. That's how those drummers do it. So they have one for those deep worship sets, and another high pitched tune one on the side. So they're the ones who switch. They're the ones who determine. So once you've set the EQ for the different snares, so you can have like 3 channels for snare. So you have different EQs for 3 different snares. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so they tune their own different
Correct.
snare.
They have 3 different snares tuned differently. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have 3 snare channels. So that means you EQ them separately. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Bliss.
Yes, thank you. Mine is a question about the gain staging.
Yes, yes.
When when I'm when I'm trying to, because I usually I read the the dB meters on the mixer.
Okay.
I first let me say I'm setting gain for the guitar.
Yes. Yeah.
I set until it reaches that mark, the mark, that zero between there.
Okay. Yeah.
Then now when it comes to actual mixing,
Yeah.
where 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 should it reach? Should it also reach below that zero, or it should? I don't know how to mix for gain staging. I know, but for mixing it with mixing voices is what I'm not sure their levels when I'm.
Yeah. So you have to. My advice is listen to a lot of music. You need to listen to a lot of music. I would start with, say, an album per week. Start by listening to an album per week, especially the gospel and reggae. Those will give you a good hint on how to balance the different instruments with vocals. So listen to a lot of music so that you understand how to balance everything together.
Should I still read the meters while I'm mixing, or?
No, 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 no. Well, mixing. You have to mix with your ears. You don't mix with eyes. Never mix with eyes. That's why
Oh, okay.
even this thing that I'm showing you here. For example, let me use the snare as an example. So you see these things metering. Yeah, I don't like using them. If there was a way, let me see if I can switch it off. Yeah. So I prefer using my ears than using this analyzer to show me frequencies. I don't like using it because it can deceive you. So you'd rather mix with your ears. Never mix with your eyes. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. Thank
So
you. Yeah.
yeah, so listen to a lot of music, and of course go with what your ears are telling you. If something is too loud, reduce it. If something is too quiet, increase it. So don't mix with your eyes, mix with your ears. Yes, Jordan.
So, so about
Yeah,
listening to music, you
yeah.
said like an album a week. So
For
like, is there
starters.
anything you look at? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything you look out for? How many times do you listen to that album? Yeah.
It's really, you're listening to how the music has been blended. You're listening to how the music has been blending. How does the snare sound? How does the kick sound? How does the keyboard sound? How do the guitars sound? So rock guitars sound way different than jazz guitars. From the way they play to the way they are mixed, they all sound different. Even the tones the keyboard players use are very different. So you have to listen to my exercise for you is to listen to a lot of music. Doesn't matter the genre, just listen to a lot of music so that you hear the different mixing perspectives. Makes sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Pastor Edson,
Yes, yes.
so there, there is something I did recently. The thing of I went to town
Yeah.
and I got a chance to enter the Nachivugo. So I went up there
Yeah.
and I was listening to I was just listening to everything,
Mm.
and I felt like it gave me a sense of um, telling which frequencies, because one, you're
Yeah.
hearing people, you're
Yeah.
hearing different music, you're
Yeah.
hearing buses,
Mm.
cars,
Mm.
hoods, and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know if is something you'd recommend, like being in a place where there are so many different sounds and you're intentionally using
Yeah.
your ears and brains to identify which sound is
Yeah.
this. Is this a car? Is this a bus? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's also a fun exercise. A lot of movie directors do that. They go different places,
Uh-huh.
record different sounds. Yeah. So yeah, that's also another way of learning how to hear. So you hear what frequencies different things are producing. Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice exercise.
Hello.
All right. It's 1 p.m. If that's it, we will come back next week
Just one more.
and do the full drum set. Yes, yes, yes.
Hello. Before we close,
Yes, yes. Yeah?
just
Just hello?
to
Network. Is it my network or his?
recap. So when I'm mixing,
Okay. Yeah.
hello, are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, yes.
So when mixing, I've learned that like I have to use my ears. But though there are some times, because I try to record, I usually record sessions in Adobe Audition. But there
Okay.
are sometimes I see the the thing is clipping both on the mixer and here in Audition. So I don't know
Yeah, that means
if
your
it's a
gains
singer
are
who
too
is too
hot.
loud. Oh,
It means your gains are too
oh,
hot.
yeah,
Yeah, you reduce your
gains are
gains.
too hot.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yet I had set them below that.
whenever you're doing gain staging, always have room for when they're going to shout, because they're going to shout for sure. So always have room for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, always leave some room for them to shout and increase their volumes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, JT.
I get mine is just to add on a little bit about EQing, something I
Yeah.
learned from Edison in March at the UK camp that I
Yeah.
hadn't really thought of is when you cut certain frequencies, whether you know it or not, you're boosting the ones you've not cut
Yes,
in the
correct.
house. So I
Yeah.
had a problem where Papa sounded really deep and boomy, and it's because the EQ for the master bus had a lot of high frequencies cut out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was done at a previous event, and I didn't reset that. Maybe it's a problem for the digital mixers.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, when you cut certain frequencies, you also have to be aware that in your reducing this, you're boosting another.
Others.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if you cut your body fat to muscle ratio,
Yeah.
if you have less fat, then you appear more muscular.
Yeah.
If you have more fat, then you appear less muscular,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So I'll take this example here. If I'm doing this, it means I'm increasing this whole section here. That's what JT means. Like if I reduce all of this and even cut all this off, if I'm that means I'm increasing these. That's what's happening. Yeah. So you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overdo it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what JT means. Like if you're boosting this, it means you're decreasing this entire section. So you don't want to overdo it. Yeah. Great, great, great. Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends. See you next week.
Thank you very much.